Hey guys, welcome back to the Harlan Project. Today's an exciting day. I have a major upgrade on my dump trailer, something I've wanted to do for nearly 2 years. Okay, it's got a little weight to it, but what I have in my hand here is not actually part of my upgrade for my dump trailer. That's something for the skid steer. You're gonna want to stay tuned for that. It's top secret right now. Nope, what's for my dump trailer? It's in this box and these boxes. Maybe not this one. No. Okay, no, this is just for Sean. This is for you, buddy. You saw me using my kinetic rope without a designated tow hitch. And I told you I ordered one because you're right. That's the safer way to do it. And I know better, but I just had the woods behind me. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a video where I try to pull out a tree stump using my dump trailer skid steer and a kinetic rope in my truck. Go watch it. Now, what I'm doing today for my dump trailer is I'm adding I think it's called well, it's the arms. What do they call those? The tarp arm. Yeah, it's a tarp arm kit. You know how you see those on the dump trailers where you roll it and the arm automatically swings up, brings the tarp up nice and high, and then lays down over top of whatever load you have in the dump trailer. Forever and ever, I've just unrolled it from the front and I've kind of done one of these hee-ho-hums, throw the tarp towards the back, and it falls where it falls, and then I kind of flop it over, and honestly, it always goes on okay. But when you gotta roll it back and it snags on everything inside that dump trailer, it just slowly tears it, it gets caught, you gotta climb in. It's honestly, it's something I've been dealing with since I bought the trailer, and I've always wanted an arm kit like this, and so I'm so thankful to have it. Now, in this box, I just have a new tarp here because my old one has gotten pretty shredded. And shout out to Vivor, thank you so much. You've been good to me on this channel so far. I reached out to them, told them what I was doing, I asked them if they would be willing to send me a new cover because my old one's pretty shredded, and they were willing to do so. We'll go over the quality of this a little bit later. I can tell you just real quick, feels pretty nice. Try that. Nope. The real show is actually inside this box. And I bought this with my own money, guys. I honestly, I just wanted it. I didn't even try to reach out to any companies to see if they would be willing to give me anything for sponsorship or partnership opportunities on the channel. I just wanted it. So I did a little bit of research, and you know, there's a lot of stuff for dump trucks, and it seems like actually, if you're one of these companies that are in this space, just, I mean, do what you want with this information, but this is just a customer here. And normally you go into Google and you can type in dump trailer, you know, tarp arm kit, and shopping or images or whatever, and it's not going to take you too many clicks to find something obviously built for a dump trailer. Almost everything I searched sent me to something for a dump truck, and it doesn't mean that it can't be used on a dump trailer. It's just the branding and the marketing wasn't there. So anyway, I went with a company called harps.com. They are American company, I believe. It's all made in America. This is aluminum. Oh baby, I can tell you right now, that feels pretty robust. I'm excited about that. Now this kit is fully adjustable, which most of them are, by the way. As I was searching for these, most are fully adjustable. And I think this fits up to a 20-foot trailer. Mine's going to be on the small side at 14 feet. But really all that does is it puts the extension arms further inside the main arm, which I think would only just make it stronger. But I'm not really worried about it. This stuff feels like top quality here. I'm loving it. Now, I really wanted to bolt my kit onto my trailer, and that's just in case any of the parts got damaged or that part ever got damaged. I could unbolt it and easily bolt the new one back on. Or I don't know, in my brain, if I ever got a new trailer, I could move this onto the new trailer. I probably wouldn't do it. You'd probably just sell this with it on. But I wanted to bolt it. Well, I couldn't bolt it. I had to weld mine on. It's much stronger this way. But I had to weld it because you can see here, this exact location, which is where they want it, in the center and 2 inches up, I'm actually on the sidewall of the trailer. So I don't have a riser to bolt to. So here's a riser, right, for support. Here's a top rail riser. Now, there's two problems with that. One is not really a problem. One is preference, and one actually is a problem. The preference is I didn't want to bolt directly to my sidewall of my trailer, because then I would have nuts or the head bolt on the inside of the trailer. Chances are nothing bad would really ever come from that, and even if it did, you could just sawzall the bolt off and replace it if you needed to. I just didn't want any part of the bolt sticking through. The bigger issue, which forced me to weld, is that you have to get this bracket padded out far enough so that when your arm comes up, it clears everything. So in my case, it had to be out far enough that it would clear this right here, but also out far enough that it would clear these right here. So this actually had to get bumped out quite a bit. So I had some tubing laying around, some scrap steel that actually is the same width of this, but that will allow me to get the swing I needed. All right, so I got myself into a pickle, and it's my fault. Well, I'm reading the instructions, I'm doing it step by step, but the problem is I have fenders, and on the instructions, they do not. So I've got a problem now, and I'm hoping I can solve it without having to do any type of surgery. Surgery being cut my newly welded brackets off, only to re-weld them again. So the next step, after you put your pin on, so you've got this key slot down. Okay, what that key slot is for is so that your springs, which have a grab on it, can slide into that. So that way when you twist the arm back, it actually loads the spring. And the idea is that as you unroll your tarp, the spring will pull the arm back automatically. Right? Makes sense. Well, in order for you to clock that, they want you to actually put this arm on basically in, I'd say, basically at an angle like that. Well, that's a problem for me for multiple reasons. One, which is solvable, obviously this arm is stabbed into the ground, so there's no way that would get there. That's easy. Take these two bolts off, and then I can shorten it up so I'm only dealing with this piece until I actually clock it, then I can put the arm back in. No problem. Other problem though is, notice how steep this angle is? If I mount it on here, I'm going to hit my fender. That was kind of a screw up. And I just followed the instructions. It said 2 inches, but I went back and I looked again, and I'm like, well, how could that be? And it's because on the instructions, they don't have a fender. So if you're doing this and you're using this kit or something similar, if you have fenders, what I would do is I just mount this higher. All right, I'm embarrassed to tell you that I just had this thing entirely assembled and realized I forgot to put these bushings in. The instructions are not very good. So you have to put these plastic bushings in, to which looks like, yeah, there we go. That would sit like that. Okay, this wasn't the funnest thing, but it wasn't awful. So slide it in the keyway, and then you have to get the bottom of the spring over the bolt, but obviously you can see I can't put this down. So the spring has to come up, and it's not easy, and it's not too bad to do what I just did that. It's not too bad to do what I just did there. The bad part is trying to get this spring down the shaft, so that way you have room for the other two. That was a booger. Definitely just go ahead and raise it up. You don't want to try to keep it low and have to put it together like I did. That was not fun, trying to beat those springs on there. And once you get all three on there, there's quite a bit of force. I mean, it's hard to even lift this thing up from right here where you have no leverage. Once you get out here, it's actually, it's not too bad. So you can imagine your roller pulling from the bar out here would have all that extra leverage. you know, to pull it over. So, you know, I was thinking about this, and I suppose the one good reason to keep it low like this is so that the bar, when it's sitting up here, is kind of already, you can see it. See, it's how it's already in the upward position, meaning when you start to roll it and the tarp's pulling, it's already pulling in the direction in which it wants to go. Versus, you know, if you mounted this up here too high to where that bar was really level, I don't know if when you go to roll your tarp back, if you're not actually just kind of pulling, you know, straight down the bar. It probably wouldn't take much of an angle to get this thing just to start going up. If you're pulling from a trailer like mine where your tarp comes over the top like this and is coming on a downward angle, then it's probably already got the leverage that it needs even if the bar is flat. Most of this is actually going to be inside the arm here. That's all right, it just makes it all the stronger. So that would go in here, and I just need to get a Allen here, and I think this will fit here. Yep. So shout out to hey, shout out to Vevor tool set they sent me. Is coming in handy. I've been using that for this entire install. If you want to see a full review on that kit and get a discount code for it, look at the link in my description. So up to this point, this kit has pretty much been bolt on. I did weld my pivot brackets on, but technically you could bolt those on. It just really depends how your trailer setup is. But as you get to the back here, this cross member, they give you 2 bars that are the exact same length. So you can see how long this is. So to have a second one that long, you'd be clear out into the other lane of traffic. So I don't know why they would give you 2 that long. I mean, the nice thing is you get a long piece of aluminum left over if you want to do anything with it. But I rather than cut both of them and try to land in the middle, I didn't think that was necessary. They give you this insert to join the 2 together. So this goes in kind of like that. And then the piece you cut would slide over like so. And then you put your arm in here. I'm sorry, your elbow that connects the 2. And then we would just bring this other piece up and put them together like so. And let me pin those so they stop moving on me. I really like where this is sitting, but I don't think it's going to be able to stay here. I'm anticipating something that will cure all of that, and it has to do with the front of the trailer and potentially having this stick out further. Let's do that tomorrow. I'm going to go get some dinner. See you in a minute. This is probably what really did it in, is the corners were blown out, the grommets are gone. I mean, so often I was just sticking my bungee cord through a former grommet hole. So this thing, I don't know. I don't know if it's original or not, but I'd say I got my miles out of it. So we're gonna get the new one on, and it's gonna be in a lot better condition than this one. Well, you can see how I launched that over. That's generally how I would do it when I would have to use this tarp. But it looks like they've got it pinned right here, so that should be easy. Let me get a socket. I'll be right back. Whew. It's actually really hot today. Yesterday was like the nicest day we've had really all summer. That Hurricane Aaron, when it came through, wasn't anywhere close to us in Florida, but it sucked so much moisture out when we were actually getting a little bit of wind. Whatever our humidity level was yesterday, it was manageable. Now we're back to, well, what we're used to. Okay, easy enough. That makes sense that it would be pinned. Oh, I think this will just slip off. There's that. And yes, I love it. Nice. Woo! Okay, let's get our new one. Check this out. This one's got grommets all the way down the side, so you can strap it on the sides. My other one did not have that. That is awesome. Okay. All right. My wife always makes sure to tell me to put the seams down. Okay, good, good. Make the wives happy. Now don't tell her I said that, because then she'll want to know why I can't seem to make our bed correctly. So this cover actually has a little liner inside of that, which is nice. I think all the more layers you can have, the better, to make it more durable. You can see I got the original 2 fasteners back in, but I went ahead and added a 3rd and 4th, 2 more on the ends. And the reason why I did that is these are intended to prevent slip. Well, what I would notice is as I would use this roller, the ends, if they were really caught on something, they would actually slip a little bit. And from time to time, this tarp could actually get wound up a little crooked. There we go. Okay. Nice. Why is that so snug? Well, that's not good. You know when you get that feeling like, if I keep going, something's gonna break? And I don't think it'll be the roller. I think it's gonna be my brand new cover. And, well, this isn't gonna work, so I'm gonna have to come up with something else. I wonder if I should take out one of the springs. I just don't need 3 springs. Oh, I did not want to have to take that apart again. Okay guys, I kind of got a lot going on right now and I really want to unpack it for you, so just bear with me because I think it'll help you, especially if you're trying to do what I'm doing, and especially if you have something like this on the side of your trailer. So the problems I'm having, because unfortunately I'm having problems, here I am day 3 and I'm guaranteed to have at least a 4th day of this install. Nothing to do with that kit from Harp Tarps or whatever it's called, and nothing to do with the tarp itself here from Vevor. It's my trailer and it's the configuration I'm in. Specifically, having this raised part of the trailer. So up top there, I've got a PVC pipe that's fixed, and that was just so that the old tarp could glide over that rounded edge, not cause friction, not tear, right? Not snag. Okay, great. I thought that I would be able to just crank this back, but between that pipe and rubbing right here in the front of my trailer, there's enough friction. I'm pretty sure that this tarp will tear if I just try to pull through it. And part of that is, when I told you earlier in the video that those arms have a lot of spring pressure, they have a lot of spring pressure, especially down there when they're tilted away and they're trying to be pulled back. In fact, look above my head here. See the belly in this pipe? Now this is only a fence post that I had laying around with a little PVC pipe. This is my makeshift roller. All this is makeshift. I'll explain. But you can see the pressure. That's all that pressure is by those springs. This is loose. I didn't crank it back. In fact, when we go down there in a minute, you're going to see that those arms are just floating. Again, a lot going on here, and I'll explain. So I did this roller up here, this makeshift roller, because before I spent money on some other options, I wanted to see if this was in fact my problem. And I can say that it is in fact my problem. If I just start rolling, look how much pressure that is, even with that roller. Okay, but you can obviously see the arms coming up, okay? Now, obviously, when I get up here, it's actually kind of easy once it's up here. You might be saying, hey, dude, take your axle tube and just move it up here. And yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do that, but I was trying to figure out if I didn't have to, because I would have to crank like this. And did you see how much pressure that was? I mean, those first pumps, you're cranking like this, that's a shoulder workout. Now, you can buy a kit where they have the axle tube up here, and it runs a chain down to the crank down here. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's like, I saw one kit for $500, another for $300 just for that chain drive system. So that's not worth it. So I'm back to, okay, can I buy some type of roller that's designed for this? Well, I couldn't find anything. The closest thing I could find was a conveyor roller, which I don't know if it would hold up outdoors. But that wasn't even the main problem. The main problem was that I couldn't find one the exact width I need, because this is a 7-foot trailer. Well, you don't typically buy things that are 7 feet. You buy them in 8 feet, you buy them in 6 feet, you buy them in these, even sizes. So I couldn't find that, right? And so then I said, okay, well, I can't take these brackets right here because they're welded onto the trailer. It's just part of the trailer. So let me just go buy some brackets that hold this axle assembly, and I'll move mine up here. Well, you think that'd be easy? No. No. In fact, you can find this side of the bracket, that is the side with the gear, the teeth here, and the locking mechanism. You could find that one in several places, but only on one other website, and I thought I was looking around pretty good, that I could actually find the other side, just a standard steel bracket with the bearing that would hold the axle tube, right? That would be the sister to this side, the pair. Well, even on that website, you had to pay for them individually. You couldn't buy them as a kit. Okay, not the end of the world. But the two of those together on that one website, they were like $53 for the two of them, plus shipping. Well, I mean, just for some steel brackets, which I could probably make, but then I don't have the bearings, so then I got to buy the bearings, and then I got to get cute with welding. At some point, you just buy the part. And I'm not opposed to that, even though I make a lot of stuff. Well, I went on Vivor's website, and Vivor will sell this whole axle assembly with those mounting brackets for $84. So I think that's the route I'm going to go. So it works fine here, and you can see I've got this set to the proper distance on this part of the trailer so that it ends up here. It's out of the way for any customers throwing stuff over. You know, you don't want to obviously leave this where part of the trailer is closed off to where it could get hit with couches and cushions and chairs and things flying over. I mean, customers could even hit it sitting right there, but it's better chance of survival being all the way down. So, brings me to my next point. Let's let it go all the way down. See how fast that's going? That's okay. Now, that's all the way down, right? And again, I didn't do that. It just stopped. Let's go look at the back. Now this is in the fully extended position we just saw up in the front, and obviously this looks a little different than what we saw earlier in the video when it's snugged up right here. And that's because I made these arms longer from here to here. I made them longer because when I crank it all the way up, I want the cross member to lay on top of that wood instead of falling short to where it could get hit if somebody's throwing something in the trailer. And you might say, well, didn't you mount those pivot arms in the center? Good question. I asked myself the same thing, and I had to think about it for a minute, and I realized, yes, those pivot arms are dead center in the trailer, but something else is going on. And that is when I had it set back here, the arms were in the flat position, meaning they were as long as they were possibly could be. But as those arms go up, right, as they go up, they actually get shorter. They actually move away from this point. They're going that way. Well, up at the front, you know, they're almost 2 feet higher, right? So as they're up here, they're not coming down to reach their full length, which would actually be right on top of that spool, how it is back here. So in hindsight, maybe what I could have done was actually mount those pivot points 2-3 inches farther forward. Somewhere in there would have been the right balance to get the distance I need up there, but still land right here. This is not a problem. This is actually just fine. When I get it to come all the way down, I can just weld on a piece of steel here so that the arms will come down and rest. The arm will actually rest on the steel, because before this was resting on the hinge. I didn't think that was a very good design anyway. The other thing it will do is it'll keep this cross member away from the back of my doors here where it was rubbing and was going to cause a tear at some point. Now, that brings me back to the front, and where should I mount the roller? I bought an 18-foot tarp for a 14-foot trailer. I'll be honest, I didn't measure my old one. And I don't think it would have mattered. I think that one is 18. But I thought for sure 18 was enough to go from the deck height, the original trailer height, up over the wood, and then allow this to lay down. And it's not. It's not. So the only way this can actually keep coming down is if this gets longer. And the only way this can get longer is if I replace it entirely, which I'm not going to do because it's a free tarp. And it fits the trailer just fine. And when I went back to Vivor's website, I didn't see a 7x20. It was, once you got it past 18, you went to a different width. And the width at this point is more important than the length, because then I'll get all sorts of caught up in the wood. You know what I'm saying? So I think I have to move the axle roller up at the front, so that solves my friction issue, and that solves my length issue for my tarp. It looks good up there, but it's not done, so I'm feeling disappointed, guys. I got more parts I got to order, and I'll get it done, and I'll show you guys the final product. Check out harpstarps.com. That's a high quality product. I paid $554 for that, my own money, but that's for your reference. Vivor, thanks again for providing that tarp. That's so awesome. I love the extra grommets on the side. It gives you all the more tie down points, especially in the air gaps here on the wall where things can sneak out. So guys, if you take away anything from this, well, actually there should be plenty for you to take away, because I struggled a lot on this, and some proper game planning I think would have helped me. I would have had all the tools I needed, all the parts I needed. And so think about your trailer. Look at your front height, your rear height, take all your necessary measurements, get everything you need up front, especially if you rent your trailer, so you can minimize your downtime. Do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Watch one of these other videos, and we'll see you on the next one.